Once again,
We get
blindsided.
As always.
Big time.
That's for audio check.
Yeah.
So, wow.
What a session we
What a
just
session.
witnessed.
What a session.
Ajinkya Rahane, Shardul Thakur take a bow. I mean, 103 run partnership that they have had. Ajinkya Rahane before this knock had just averaged 9 at the Oval. 6 innings, 55 runs. Today he's hit a magnificent 89. And Shardul Thakur got hit on the arm twice. Got a reprieve of a no ball. Yet again, 6 no balls for Pat Cummins out of that 2 wickets. The indiscipline that the Australians have shown, plus they have dropped catches. It means now that India are back in contention for the World Test Championship final. Yeah, we've been joined by Nikhil. Nikhil, can you hear us? No, I think he can't hear us. We can't hear you, Nikhil. Just wait.
But oh, how the turntable.
How the tables turn.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
Yep. So, Anurag, just tell us when he can hear us.
Ask him.
Nikhil, can you hear us now?
Can we hear him?
We can't hear him also.
No,
Yeah, I think it's a two-way thing.
is it that the speakers are not on or something?
I think we can't hear him. So we are just waiting to join.
Oh, be
Some
joined,
audio
rather.
issues are plaguing us at this point. So yeah, I mean it's a thorough and magnificent display from Ajinkya Rahane in particular. I mean he's batting with a fractured finger. Remember,
Yes.
the grit that he has shown is fabulous. And
Magnificent.
you would want to appreciate Rahane and Shardul Thakur. Remember, two people. Rahane in particular is playing a test match after 2 years. And at a venue where he's not had that much of success.
Can
But
you ask now?
yeah. Hello, Nikhil, can you hear us? No,
I
we
think
can't.
not.
No, I don't think it's going through. I think there is some network issues on Rug. So
Quite possible.
so you have to sort that out. So Australia began the day.
Now can you hear? Just ask him.
1 second. Yeah, just sorting out those audio issues that are plaguing him.
Technical issues galore. But
Yep, technical issues galore. So the day began very badly.
I think he'll be able to listen to you.
Yeah. Nikhil, can you hear us now? No, I think he can't hear us, Anurag.
yeah.
Just sort it out and have this thing because
See if we can make him join again. It could be some sort of an
that's
issue
the
there.
thing. So 260, right? 260 for 6 could very well have been 260 for 7 had Cummins not overstepped yet again. So
That's two oversteps now, which would have gotten
Yes.
Australia the key wickets of Ajinkya Rahane and Lord Shardul Thakur, and both of them were no balls on review.
no balls.
That's just, you can't even call it bad luck.
unpardonable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is simply unpardonable from Cummins because we knew that he bowls with discipline and not much of, you may say, all these transgressions. But today, the Australian catching has been woeful. Absolutely woeful. Warner dropping a catch, Khwaja dropping a catch, and they were made to pay, rightly made to pay by the Indian, the final batting duo, that we may say. So, that's the situation we have. And Rahane, remember, a fantastic technique he has against pace.
Yeah.
So that's why you saw
Yes.
he is the only individual to hit a 50
In
in the ICC WTC, the first Indian.
Yeah.
wow.
And he held the highest score before this. But
Yeah, 49.
I mean, the way Shardul and Rahane held the fort, they are still holding the fort, by the way. It's been magnificent to watch. Of course, they've been graced by those no balls by Pat Cummins and
Yeah.
those 2 dropped catches, but then still, you have to take advantage of that, and they did very well. And not to mention that Rahane is
Yep.
batting with a fractured finger, and we all know how Rahane loves to bat against the Australians.
And see, Sena countries, there has been no one better than Ajinkya Rahane when it comes to Sena countries.
Yeah, his record abroad is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I mean, in England, he scored 100 in tough situations at Lord's. He scored 100 in an incredibly tough situation in Wellington. Then in Melbourne, he scored 200s. South Africa, 96 Durban. So, it's really been harakiri committed by Australia. I mean, Cummins in particular, I mean, there can be no pardon for 2 no balls that cost you wickets. Then Australia would have even thought about enforcing the follow. Now they are definitely not doing it, even if you get the next 4 wickets for 5 runs or something.
Yeah, now no, now definitely
not. So India in this way has saved themselves. So it is a superb partnership, one that will ensure that India at least have something to smile about. After maybe 2 days where you never had nothing to smile at. So still, but looking at the broader picture, it is a mountain to climb. You've just climbed a certain part of it. But at least you've climbed. Otherwise, prior to the Rahane Thakur stand, you're staring at the abyss. As simple as that.
Very true.
So it's just a faint, you may say, sliver of hope in that dark sky that is there. But at least there is some hope now. Unlike in the first 2 days when we didn't have any. Has the issues been sorted, Anurag?
It's still shaking.
Still, okay. Nikhil, can you hear us? No? No, we
no
still
luck
can't.
there.
We still can't seem to get through, but we will sort it out soon, because it is really going to be. We need his inputs from the Oval much more now, because the mood that is there, that has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
But still, as I have mentioned, for people who may be telling us that, oh, we may have changed track. No, I still don't change track. There are still a lot of criticisms where it's due.
That's fine.
60% of the criticism in this session has to be directed at Australia. Because Test cricket can give you one particular situation. I think we have gotten Nikhil back. Audio, is it coming?
Doesn't look
Nope.
No, anyway, we'll carry on the discussion till he tells us that
So, Test match cricket can make any opposition, it can even the balance. One time, if you don't take your catches, you don't do the right reviews, you bowl no balls, you will be made to pay.
But India will be happy. Finally, now I think it was yesterday's first session that belonged to India. So you had what? 7 pies. If you look at the whole match, you've got 7 pies. India, I think now well and truly can claim that 2 pies do belong to them. That's not to say that Australia have been pegged back in any way. They still have the upper hand as far as this match is concerned. But India will be happy. India will be happy after what had happened on the second ball of the day, and for where they are right now, they'll be happy that the damage control was put into force and it worked out as well. With, as I think Aryu was pointing out, it was laced with a bit of luck as well. But that's what you need in crunch matches, and India will be happy. At the moment, India will be happy, but they know that they still have a mountain to climb.
Mountain to climb, and remember, if Australia have to stay in the contest, they need a 150 plus run lead. They need that definitely, because if Australia collapse in the second innings, which could very well happen, this pitch is still very difficult. Credit to Thakur and Rahane for hanging in there. Still very difficult. So
yeah, I think it's been a test for a battle of attrition as much as anything else from the Indian batsmen, because again, it's not been the easiest times. Rahane was, sometimes getting awkward bounce from Cummins. Shardul, I think, in one over got hit twice or thrice on the finger. So it's not been easy. Credit where credit's due to the batting. They hung in there when things were looking rough. Right after Boland got that early wicket of KS Bharat, they had to hang in there and then look to kind of be a little expansive. And they've done that.
In fact, two very contrasting batsmen, I would say, on the pitch over there, making things work in tandem. Because while you saw Shardul Thakur, slash at it a couple of times, go for par, even that shot that he played over square, it was all about par. He slashed on a couple of occasions.
It's just hard.
Ajinkya Rahane, on the other hand, got those threes also on a couple of times. So he's actually waiting again. Both of them are playing with very different philosophies or style of play at the moment.
Hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
yeah,
Yes,
Nikhil,
now
can
we finally can.
hear you. Yes. So Nikhil, what a session.
Can he hear us?
Can you hear us?
No.
Oh no, it's a one-way street.
We can
Are
hear
you being able to
Nikhil,
hear
but
my
I don't
audio?
think you can hear us.
Okay. You cannot hear me?
No, we can hear you. You cannot hear.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, I know
Why am I
that.
talking?
So if you tell me that you've tossed to me, Anurag, then I can go on for about 3, 4, 5 minutes,
And Raj are
then
transmitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is that we can hear.
minute?
Oh.
okay, you can hear me.
Yes.
You can hear me. So let me. I can't. So I think it'll be tough for us to have a conversation. But let me just sum up what I've seen so far on day 3 of the Test match. I don't want to jinx it, but it seems like that famous India fight pack that we've seen from this Indian team in the recent times. I'm beginning to see signs of that famous India fight pack. It's been a fantastic session of Test match cricket that we've just witnessed. Some outstanding strokes being played, and I think this is what we love Test cricket for, right? So what did we get? Some hard fought cricket from our batters. It wasn't easy to begin with. Shardul Thakur getting knocks on his legs, on his thigh, on his hands, whether it was his finger, thumb, arm, everywhere, right? Getting medical attention one after the other. But what I loved about Shardul Thakur was the fact that it quite happens very often where you get hit and then you are tentative, you know. You could see that the Australian batters were trying to intimidate him, target his body, hit him, and then maybe thought that they'll put one ball up and then he will play a loose shot and give his wicket away. Not quite. So we're seeing that gutsy fight from Shardul Thakur and Ajinkya Rahane. I'll get to him a little later, but it's really heartening to see that kind of fight because you know what? It is the beginning of the weekend here. It's a packed house. Yes, India didn't have a great time yesterday. They lost their 5 wickets. But today I saw fans just turning up, a lot of them hoping to see a fight back from the Indian batters. It didn't start very well. You lost Kona Bharat at the start of the session. And you know what the murmur here was? And I was just about to enter, having finished the television show. The murmurs were, oh, here we go again. Another collapse loading. It's going to be a test match that will finish very early. Not quite. Close to 110 runs we've seen in this session. You lost only 1 wicket. I think any thought or any talks of follow-on are done and dusted. Yes, India really haven't crossed it right now, but you expect them to do that with 4 wickets in hand. In that rare scenario where they have that mini collapse and that follow-on target also cannot be closed in, even then, I think where the game stands at the moment, it's very unlikely that Australia would have. And I'm going back to the last 20, 25 runs as well. I think the last 50 odd runs when India got, even if Australia had any thought of a follow on, that vanished about 50 odd runs earlier only with the way Shardul Thakur and Ajinkya Rahane batted. So kudos to Shardul Thakur. Some close calls stuck in there. Some calls that weren't kind. The umpire giving him out. But then, you know, the no ball. I mean, what are the chances, huh? Pat Cummins once again bowling a no ball, could have had a wicket there, but you know does that. Drop catches for both. For Shardul Thakur at the start, where that ball could have been caught in the slips. It was Boland, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, a drop catch in the slips. David Warner, out of all the people, you could argue probably the keeper could have also gone for it. So yes, luck of the draw sometimes favors you, but outstanding batting from the 2 batters in Ajinkya Rahane and Shardul Thakur. I must also tell you that because it's a packed house, the crowds are really egging them on. And sometimes when you're a batter, it really helps, right? So the crowd support is outstanding. It will come into play as the game progresses. Now imagine if they were to play for another hour, they come back after lunch, play for another hour. Not only are the Indian batters going to get another 50, 60 runs, I think what it's going to happen, anyway the shoulders have begun to drop of the Australian players. It can be frustrating if you have a, tail ender, and pardon me for calling Shardul Thakur a tail ender. He's been very good, with the bat, but that is what effectively he is. He's more of a bowling all-rounder. So if in that situation they go in for another hour or so, it's going to be then very tough for the Australian team. It impacts you because 5 days of Test cricket, how you come out to bat after that, all of that is going to be very crucial. So I think the next target for India is going to be, of course, as I said, that follow on that first sort of question that anyone had. That's really gone out. That small target, they've gone past it because, as I said, Australia, even 50 runs before would have thought, even if they had any thought, they would have, ensured that they because the bowlers would be tired, so they wouldn't have been enforcing the follow-on. I think the other target India can realistically look at, and I didn't think I'd be able to say that, based on how the Indian batters batted initially, is the fact that maybe get the lead below the 3-figure mark, maybe even to 2 figures. You're right now at 260. It's 369. So maybe another 100 odd runs is what the Indian team needs to get to ensure that the lead then comes down to below 3 figures. As soon as that happens, then the test match is even Stevens. It's an even Stevens test match. So I think, this is something that the team could, target. And what I'm really looking forward to right now is an Ajinkya Rahane 100. I really want him to get 100. Couldn't be happier for the guy. And my mind goes back to all those innings that he's played, kind of saved India. That 36 all out. Right after that, you go to MCG, he gets that 100. It was the South Africa tour, 17-18, if I'm not mistaken, where he gets dropped for the first 2 test matches, gets you a 48 in Joburg, then gets you a 96 in Durban. One of those, again, gritty, tight back sort of knocks that he's played. Lords, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So that, put together, he's the man who plays these knocks. And the other thing, which I don't know, maybe this is a debate you can have. This is the last bit I'll throw to you guys, and maybe you can go around the room and debate, is that, the biggest chatter that I was seeing amongst fans here that I was speaking to on social media was about IPL, right? I mean, there was a lot of talk, you've played the IPL, and after the IPL, would the Indian batters be ready? Are they making a mistake of not being able to get accustomed to test match cricket conditions? So, it was a big, big mistake. So once again, IPL was beginning to be the villain for Indian cricket. But that question, I believe Ajinkya Rahane has answered, because he's one of those who played IPL, played all the matches in the IPL, won the IPL, got runs in the IPL, and is getting runs here in test cricket. So what it's telling me right now is it's not the IPL which is an issue. There were technical issues with Indian batters. They couldn't get the runs. Some of those, wickets that India lost. And remember, we had Sunny Gavaskar on Sports Today and asked him that, that dismissal of Jadeja, that dismissal of Virat Kohli. Was it, an outstanding ball? The batter couldn't have done anything. And he said, no, you could have. Those were technical mistakes that the batters made. They could have batted well. They could have found a way to not be out. That's what you do in Test cricket. So it is possible to come off an IPL and that gets runs in Test cricket. Ajinkya Rahane is showing it, and I'm glad that he is, because at the end of the day, Rohit Sharma said mental adjustments needed to be made. You needed to make those mental adjustments. Ajinkya Rahane has done it brilliantly. His attack against Nathan Lyon, him coming round the wicket, and the fours that he was hitting over extra cover, I think those are the highlights that you're going to keep watching for a long time. So I'm lucky enough to be watching this. I hope it gets better from here on, where India's comeback becomes even better, even takes them to a position where you can then start even thinking of winning a test match. You're still further away from that. Let's make no mistake that, India's really made a comeback. Well and truly, they've come back into this test match. Not quite. Australia still hold all the aces. They're far ahead. But I'm saying another 100 runs, if India can get 110 runs, then I think the test match is close. It'll be 50-50. So, Ajinkya Rahane, that IPL debate, I'd love to know what you guys think.
Yep.
I mean, see, I think it's an easy criticism to make, but it's a valid criticism also that, playing white ball cricket, specifically the IPL, might not in fact be the best preparation. But I think what, Ajinkya Rahane has shown you to an extent, even Shardul really, because he's batted very grittily. He's normally someone who you rely on as more of a counter-attacking batsman at best. Someone who will get you quick fire runs and that's it. But he was batting very grittily. He was not looking to give away his wicket.
I you on Insta as well, but it must have got lost.
Okay, we seem to be having some, anyway. The point is that... Is he talking to someone?
Okay.
Okay.
Talk to him.
Oh, he wants to listen as well. Okay.
Yeah, Anurag, tell me.
Right. So I think what we've seen so far is that rather than just have it be, let's say, it's easy to criticize the IPL, and it's an easy criticism and a valid criticism to an extent that, it's not always easy to have that transition from, say, white ball cricket, especially T20 cricket to Test cricket. But if you have the application, rather more so than, let's say, I think rather than make an excuse and say, look, everyone knew you were going to be playing the IPL, and Rahane had one of the longest stints. Remember, he was playing in the final. And despite that, he's been able to effortlessly switch on, test match mode, get into that groove, and now could very well be on course for a big 100.
I think with Rahane, what we've seen is two things. Primarily the fact that, why he's been able to do that, let's say in this first innings and not the others. I think it all boils down to that one thing which you talk about.
Sorry, come again, Harshit.
Yeah, so Nikhil, the point I was making was that often we talk about this one attribute that you look forward to in players when you talk about especially Test cricket, and the other Indian batters haven't been able to do what Ajinkya Rahane has shown. Let's say over the last 50 odd overs of cricket that we've seen. It all boils down to temperament, as they say in the game, and Ajinkya Rahane has displayed what having the right temperament for the game can do, and because he has that temperament, he's been able to make that adjustment.
No, I completely agree. Just to chip in, one, he's ready to do the hard yards. Okay, that's the first and the most important thing. He's ready to do the hard yards. He's ready to get hit. He's ready to spend time on the crease. He's ready to look ugly. I think that's very important. He's ready to look ugly when he gets beaten. Then puts his head down and forgets about that delivery and thinks that, now I'm going to concentrate on the other one. So I think that's what he's done. We all know that he's a gritty customer. He's shown it in the past. That's not to say that the other batters are not. But maybe he made that mental adjustment better. I'll tell you something more, which I have noticed for a very long time, and I often wonder why, our current age batsmen do it. You look at the Rohit Sharma, you look at Virat Kohli. Most of these batters, because they are outstanding in white ball cricket, have a very wide stance, right? When they're standing at that stance is very wide, which actually allows them to do very well in white ball cricket, because when you're trying to play through the line there, you really don't have to move front foot, back foot. You could stand in that position with a wide stance, and those quick deliveries can be hammered to the boundary for 4s and 6s. It works very well. We've seen all the new age batters stand like that, these wide stands. But if you remember, old school batters would have a narrower stance. That balance was much narrower. Why was it like that? Because for them, they were born and brought up on Test cricket, a diet of Test cricket. It's changed now, right? Batters are being brought up on a diet of white ball cricket, especially T20 cricket, right? So it works very well there. What sometimes that kind of a stance does is, it doesn't allow you to fully go forward or fully come back. That's what Mr. Gavaskar pointed out yesterday about Virat Kohli's dismissal. So maybe mental adjustments were made by Virat. Maybe he was geared in. Maybe he was all set to be doing very well in Test cricket. And he was showing that time that he will spend time on the crease. He's done it in the past. So mental adjustments, that grittiness is not an issue with Virat. But the one thing that is now being pointed out by Mr. Gavaskar, I was also listening to Sanjay Manjrekar on all of them, that was not a ball to be played on the front foot. He was there. His movement was on the front foot. The balance was there. He had to be back. He had to be playing back. That's something that he's not, very comfortable doing. Or even if he's comfortable, we haven't seen him do quite often here. So I think there are issues there. Maybe, as I said, those are just minor adjustments that you have to make. It's not that Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli of the world haven't got runs in Test cricket. Of course they have. But when you're faced with tougher conditions, those slight minor adjustments make a huge difference. What they must be doing sitting in the dressing room, and it quite works that way, is look at the Ajinkya Rahane get runs. Look at how a Shardul Thakur, who has not looked at his fluent best, but has been ready to grind it out, and then waited for those opportunities to get those runs. I think that will give a lot of confidence to the Indian batters, and also fire them up. They'll be like, that's our job. Shardul's job is to get wickets. It's our job to be getting those runs. So it sometimes fires you up, and for all you know, they'll come out in the second innings all fired up, all determined, all probably learning from those slight things that Ajinkya Rahane or Shardul Thakur are doing, which is why I say the longer they stay, it's not just about reducing the target or the runs that they are getting, which of course will help in the longer run, but it also, the longer they stay, kind of inspires and shows the way for the batters to come out in the second inning and do a job. And we've often seen it. It happens. You may fall short in the first innings. You cover that up when you bat in the second inning. So it could be a lot of things to play for. It could still be a very open match. But all I'm saying is, you've got to be cautious. I don't want to be over-optimistic at the moment, because 469 what Australia got was a massive, massive total. We need to get back into the game, and another 100, 110 runs these 4 wickets need to get. And you know what the crucial period will be? Right after the lunch, right? When you're in the rhythm, you go back into the dressing room, your concentration breaks down for that moment to allow your body to and your mind to relax. But when you come back, it's that, first few overs are going to be crucial. I think if they can hang on for the first few overs, maybe that target that I so hope the Indian team crosses of, keeping the lead to 2 figures, maybe that is something that India can look to achieve.
Garg, you want to say about this, Rahane?
Well, I think for Rahane, when we talk about this IPL selection, coming off of just one good game in the IPL, I think two games in the IPL. What changed things for Rahane was confidence, because we could see that there was something that was different about this version of Rahane that we're seeing right now. And before, when he wasn't having such a good run, in the very few occasions that he got to play for India, he wasn't doing so well. You could see that his shoulders
I'm
were
good.
dropped.
How are you? I'm sorry, both my hands are busy.
Yeah, you could see that his shoulders were dropping a lot. He wasn't playing with a lot of faith in himself. I think that's what changed after the IPL game that he played.
See you. Nice.
So, okay, this thing.
By the way, can I just jump in and ask you, sorry, because my audio is not great, so I can't really hear what you guys are saying. I just wanted to know your thoughts quickly, and then I'll chip in with my thoughts. What did you make of the Instagram story Virat has put? I don't know whether you've already spoken about it in the pre-game show.
We did, and I think
okay. So since you guys have spoken, let me give you my 2 bits. By the way, I quite like the quote. I'm going to save it, and maybe someday that I need to use it, I'll use it the day I'm having a bad day or something. So fantastic quote. But you need to practice that as well. In which case you need to get a bit, develop a bit of a thick skin. And then not be bothered with what others are saying. And that's the gist of what he tried to put. But I'm saying if that's what he's trying to achieve, which I think is a great thing. Thank you. Lovely to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi. Thank you. Hi. Thank you. What do you make of the game, huh?
I think it's well poised now. I think India still has a chance to win this match. Maybe if they score more 100 runs, if they don't lose a wicket, then I wish Ajinkya Rahane to score a century short as well. And Shardul to please will come back in this match and win the World Test Championship.
Okay, you tell me. What Rahane's century, huh?
Yes. We are waiting for Rahane's century, and that's why we're coming here.
Where have you come from?
We are from Maharashtra.
Oh, you come? No, but you stay in the UK?
Yes.
Where in the UK? In Wembley. Okay, so great. So, good day to come and watch a game because you got to see a good fight back from India.
Yeah, definitely. Because we thought yesterday after getting 5 wickets from Australia, so we thought that we got out today as early as possible, I think. But has played well. It got some money perfect.
Okay.
Hopefully they were.
Yes, definitely there is a chance for India.
Okay, thank you so much. You guys have a good day. Thank you. See you. So I'm just getting back. I just thought, some fans, they all watch sports today. They were very happy. So on and share their thoughts. They've, come on a nice, bright, sunny day. And as you heard from them, these were just going back on that Virat Insta story. I said that I love that quote. I'm going to steal it, maybe use it someday myself. But I'm saying the gist of that was that you need to really avoid what others are saying and not wait for their validation. And I think if that's a great path to take. That's a great philosophy to have, if that's what Virat is trying to achieve. But then I would also like him, not to react. If the whole aim is not to react to, praises or criticism and be, immune to that and just go about your work, then I think he really doesn't need to put a story out like that. Doesn't matter. I know it's a silly thing that people are talking about. His batting, of course, I don't think he'll have a problem. If he got out, that will be scrutinized, and I think a player accepts that. Whoever the player, and if you speak to the players, they'll also tell you, he accepted. If he's gotten out, there will be experts on the outside that will scrutinize it. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem would have been that picture that circulated of him eating the food and, people trolling him. So, firstly, because he's following that philosophy, which I love, I think he should not react to it and not have to say anything. Let people talk what they have to, None of them have played international cricket. He knows what he needs to do. And secondly, I can't believe that people would be criticizing somebody for eating food, or laughing or smiling. What do you want them to do? Not eat food because he got out? That's absolutely silly, right? You have a bad day at work. All of us have a bad day at work. We can't go home and eat the dinner. In fact, I don't know, personally, every time I have a bad day at work, I end up eating a bit more. That's called stress eating. That's called binge eating, So, that's absolutely silly of what I saw on social media. And I would have liked Virat not to react at all. Those are just my two.
Okay, so I gave a big update on the morning wrap also. Even I also criticized the toxicity that India's fan bases really are spewing at that time. So that is a totally different thing altogether. But my 2 bits on the Rahane thing, yes, confidence always been there, grit always been there. Today he had one thing which he did not have for 2 years: luck. Imagine if that luck factor was not there.
True.
If that luck factor wasn't there, you wouldn't be talking about whether the IPL made an impact or anything of this happened. So that is why I'm saying this luck factor is the only thing that Rahane had today, which wasn't there for 2 years. So in that sense, I am very happy that Rahane has overcome his demons at the Oval. In that sense, so cut.
Yeah. But very quickly though, Nikhil, before you head back into the stadium,
It's done.
It's cut.
It's cut. Yeah. So that's the situation now. People will be saying India staging a revival, India staging a comeback. But as I said, there is still a long way to go.
Speaking of comebacks, by the way, we've been joined by a family member who hasn't joined us in a while in one Mumbai Road. Do you remember?
Yes,
and why? And you know why? What is the biggest compliment he had? He said that aside from being an Indian, I love the fact that you have 2 Mumbai lads out there saving us the blushes. In Ajinkya Rahane and Shardul Thakur.
Of course, 2 gritty Khadus Mumbaikars who have.
Khadus is fair. I don't think he's being derogatory.
It's not the Khadus that is, it doesn't come with the connotation that it comes in.
You realize you're explaining this to a Marathi, right?
Why would
I thought she would know.
No, I thought you were calling them Khadus.
Yeah.
They are.
Not in that way, in a
See?
bad way.
No, not in a bad way. He meant it in the cricketing way.
I don't know them personally enough to call them in a very personal
Yeah, I thought you were doing that.
So the Mumbai Khadus or the Marathi Khadus is, when
why I call the Mumbai cricketers Khadus? Because they play their cricket in a very certain style. Aggressive, in your face, never backing down.
More than anything else.
So, look at Ajinkya Rahane. He comes from the outer suburbs of Mumbai. He comes from a place called Dombivli, which is about 50 kilometers away from the main Shivaji Park Stadium where he used to practice, or in the Azad Maidan stadiums. Every day for years and years on end, he would go in the second class compartments of Mumbai and he would travel 2 hours and 2 hours, 4 hours he would travel back up and forth. But what would he do? Practice. Shardul Thakur also, he would grit it out with the crowd in the second class compartments of Mumbai. And that is where, right from that very beginning itself, that Khaduspanti comes in. Okay, I need to hang my ground, because if you slip up in the Mumbai local train, you're
done.
You're done.
Whatever you lose, don't go back.
22 years, trust me, I have been in those Mumbai local trains and I can understand where the Khaduspanti comes from. The grit is born right there. So that is why it is a really big situation that it's a testament to their life.
Yeah.
Like right now, when the situation was uphill for them, where the odds were really stacked against them.
Yeah, you need 1 wicket from here and you're down to the tail. That's it.
They did the Mumbai local train. They just hung in there.
Yeah.
So that is why it's really, Mumbai Road. I mean, I know Rahane from Dombivli, Kashvi, that area. He was simply magnificent. 50 plus kilometers, it's not easy. And trust me when I say this knock, if Rahane manages to salvage something and India go on to do something spectacular, I think it's one of his greatest hundreds that he's ever hit in the season.
I think regardless of the circle, regardless of the result, this would rank right up there with one of the best test match knocks he's ever played. I know the result matters, but I mean, considering the fact that the top order collapsed so bad, and that truth be told, even Shardul Thakur has shown more application than the top order.
Yep. So remember, out of, you may say, the 400s that he's hit in the Sena countries, 2 have resulted in losses. 1 draw, 1 win.
MCG
was the 1 win. The losses, one came in
South Africa.
No, he has not scored 100 in South Africa. 2 wins, 2 wins, Lords and MCG. He drew in MCG, and whenever Rahane scored 100 in the Sena, they've actually never lost. Because the Wellington test match ended in a draw. McCallum's 300. That was when Rahane had hit 100 in the second innings. So
the original baseball.
The original baseball, indeed. So it's a very, very good sign. And Australia, I mean, if Rahane and Thakur get to their milestones, they have to thank Australia in a big, big way. Because 3 drop chances, Green dropping a chance, Warner dropping a chance, Khwaja dropping a chance.
Very un-Aussie like fielding, really.
Very. And
Dollies and slips being dropped. I don't recall an Aussie side ever doing that.
Green's chance was the simplest of the lot.
Even Khwaja for that matter. I'm sorry, it came quick, but it came into his hand.
Even Warner.
Carey could have gone for it. Warner
was going the other way where the ball came to his left. He just did wrong.
Yeah.
If Australia are falling behind in this test match, which very well might happen, then you have to blame this passage of play.
So another crucial session coming up.
No. What changed in this entire test match?
Luck.
Day 3, session 1.
Yeah.
That was the pinpoint period where the game changed totally. And as we say, day 3 is moving day.
Even day 2, session 1. That's when India made a comeback.
Yeah, but the problem was that at
151 for 5.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, of whatever we've seen from an Indian perspective, the first sessions on day 2 and day 3 have gone your way. Those are the only 2 pies. Remember, we were talking about out of the 7 pies, the 2 pies that belong to India have both been the first session of play.
Yeah, but unfortunately, in the second and third sessions, what happened? India nullified that advantage.
Which is where you need...
now again, you need them to kind of step up and...
restart again.
Start from scratch. Another session like this.
Yeah, so if Nikhil, according to Nikhil, the assessment is 99. If the lead comes down to below 100, advantage India.
Still long
totally
way.
advantage
Still
India.
long way.
You need 100 runs in this session itself. No?
I think you first looking at without losing a wicket now you look at crossing the 300 mark first. I think it's that's how you go when you're chasing when you've got a mountain to climb. You set yourself small targets. So right now for India would be 300. Then possibly you're looking at the next mark would be, let's say, the 369 run mark, because that is when that 100 run thing comes into play that you're talking about.
Yep. So that is the problem. And remember, if Australia continue in this vein, then I'm sorry, they are not just not winning the WTC, they might lose it also.
They're still about 30 odd overs away from the new ball, right? 25
yes.
If I'm not wrong.
Yes.
India should actually be looking at maximizing the time that they have with this old ball now.
But 80 overs, right? So 20 overs.
20
overs.
80
60 is up. So they just need 20 more overs.
20 more.
I think now the key is, in this time, I think you might see a little bit more aggression from the batsman.
Exactly, because again, that again runs will dry up when the new ball is
taken.
You will again be circumspect, you will wait and assess what the ball is doing on this deck. The new ball, day 3, sun's out. Again, things change.
Yeah. So maybe if India can get to about 350, 120 run lead for Australia, still anything less than 150, I think it's advantage India.
And again, if you get that...
advantage still remains with the team that has the lead, I feel.
No, I'll tell you why. Because...
He's banking on a collapse.
I'm banking on an Australia collapse because your openers especially are not in form. And if you look at the Aussie tail, barring Alex Carey, who was at the top.
It's long.
It's long. Lyon, Cummins, Boland, Stark.
True.
Doesn't inspire that much of confidence.
Yeah, the thing with
If
Cummins-
head fails, that's it.
It may not inspire a lot of confidence, but let's not forget the fact that India have traditionally struggled to get rid of the tail. They may not have contributed a lot in the first innings, but you never know.
But no, they didn't. They
Tail
didn't
bats a
contribute.
lot
They didn't
against
contribute
India
much in
especially.
terms of runs, but they played out a lot of balls, and that helped.
And
They extended it, whilst the other end you had Carey playing a little bit of counter attack.
And remember, even the opposition, Australia, they are also not experts in bowling on the tail anymore. Even they have struggled.
And also, lest we forget, in the last few, maybe couple of years, India's rearguard action has been very, very good. So the lower order, in fact, contributes, just as much, if not more, at times than the top
This
order.
is the lower order, very
Huh?
much.
Yeah.
This is the last.
This is the last recognized pair.
Remember, Thakur is doing what Ashwin is expected to do. Because you
Hang in.
Precisely why he was picked ahead of him, maybe.
Yeah. In fact, I think the expectation from him would be higher than Ashwin, and that's no disrespect to Ashwin, who has Test centuries. But
Yep. So
5 of them? How many?
he's got 5. 5 centuries. And Rahane, he needs 11 more to get to what would be his maiden 100 at the Oval. Before that, he just managed 55 runs in 6 innings.
yeah,
So
Yeah, average of 23 at this ground. if I'm
Nine.
not- Nine. 23 it was, I
I
think,
think it was Kohli or Rohit.
previous
And not
tour. No, I think the previous tour is, I think he averaged 23.
Yes, overall in the series he averaged 23, and in the previous series prior to that 18. So let's see how India shapes up. Maybe a total. I think India may reach 350. That's my
So
prediction.
you're expecting 90 odd runs in
Yeah.
this session.
But they are getting all out. 350 all out. Australia with the lead of 119.
I think you'll not get all out in this session, maybe the next one. So I think they'll get to about 330, 40, and they'll be like 7 or 8 down. If
7 or 8 down. That's a fair assessment. Either the pitch is becoming better.
could very well be easing out now.
Yeah, could be. This will be like the oval deck when batting becomes easier from day 3, 4, and 5.
But see, Boland is still getting some late tailing movement.
That will happen with the Duke's ball. That will anyway happen.
Boland
Because
also.
why I'm saying is the chances of them getting out a little bit high because the new ball is due in 20 overs.
And they'll take it instantly, I
They
think.
will have to take it instantly. So that's why. So India, there are 2 major milestones awaiting. Rahane with his 13th test run and his 2nd in England, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Lords and
Lords in this. Yeah.
both at London, just like Steve Smith. And a 50 for Shardul Thakur. And when he last hit a 50, boy, at the Gabba, things did change.
Yes.
The Ghamand.
The command was broken. So, thank you so much, folks, for joining us. We hope we have no technical issues. That is the reason why
And we hope we're not joining you for an end of innings. Rather, we're joining you for tea.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, join us for whichever session comes first.
Yeah.
Okay. From me, Harshit, Gargi, and Shane, it's bye bye. See you.